What's up, you beauties? Welcome to another High and Wide Hockey YouTube channel post-game show. The Flyers fall to the Florida Panthers tonight by final score of 4-3 via the shootout. If you're catching us live on YouTube, make sure to smash the subscribe button, hit the alert so you never miss a show. And if you guys want to listen to our podcast, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Apple Podcasts or Spotify so you're first in line when the newest episodes drop. Let's get to tonight's game. It was a good one. It was better. Comment right off the bat here, and we'll put this one up. A point well fought for, in my opinion. Yeah, and I would say you're absolutely correct in that one. Kashir Taco. I don't know if I've seen you in here before, but welcome. Hopefully we see you in here more often. So let's kind of get to the game a little bit. First period, the Flyers, I thought, started out kind of shaky. Panthers spent a lot of time in the Flyers zone. At least during the first 5 minutes, the Flyers kind of woke up and got going there. They were out shooting Florida at one point by 7 shots. I think it was 6 shots. It was 9-3 shots at one point, and the period finished 11-10. So, the Panthers kind of got their stuff together towards the end of that first period, but the Flyers were able to escape with a lead on a Joel Farabee goal, and we'll get to that right now.
Joel Farabee digging around. Nice job there. Here's Lawton. They wind. Fire. That one takes off. Goes to the corner. Then another quick shot by Brinkside. Rebound. They score. Joel Farabee.
And what I like about that goal is Farabee crashed the net. He didn't skate by or, let the guys in front of him do their thing. He went to the dirty area and the puck came to him. And hey, as you guys know, we've all been watching hockey for a long time. If you go to the dirty areas, if you go to the area where the puck usually ends up for a rebound or whatever, a lot of times you're going to be rewarded with a goal, and Farabee was. So it's good for Joel Farabee. That was his, let's see, he's been playing a little better lately. What was that goal for Farabee? It was his 3rd of the year with assists from Scott Lawton and Bobby Brink. That's each their 4th assist of the season. I thought that line looked okay tonight, the line of Farabee, Lawton, and Brink. Brink sometimes annoys me a little bit with this play, but I think he had some jump in his game tonight. And maybe after the game the other night against Tampa Bay, maybe that gave him a little bit of a jolt. I thought he looked pretty good there tonight. So let's kind of move on to the second period a little bit here. The Flyers outshot Florida 13-7 in the third period, but they were outscored 3-1. So the second period continues to be a period where the Flyers struggle in. I think they said during the broadcast the Flyers are -16 in the second period. I think after tonight they're -17. If anybody wants to stat check me on that, it'd be much appreciated. My producer is off tonight. I'm also the producer. So that would be me. But yeah, if anybody can help me out with that second period stat, there was somebody who was kind of keeping track of that for me that can bring that up. So anyways, Nate Schmidt gets the Panthers on the board with a shot from the point, and you could argue that maybe Sam Ersson could have had it. Maybe he was screened. Maybe he wasn't. There wasn't much going on in front of him. He just looked to be clean beaten. The next goal was Dmitry Kulikov, who was left wide open in the slot. However, if you want to argue that this goal should have never been a goal, I would agree with you. The puck clearly, I thought, hit the netting. In one of the last replays, I think it showed that. Up until then, I thought you could argue, okay, there's not enough evidence to say that this was out of play. Flyers are going to eventually get this penalty and so on and so forth. But, the last look, puck hit the net. How the refs don't see it, I don't know. Ersson clearly saw it. Sealer, I think, saw it. Unfortunately, the refs did not, and everybody who watched the replay from the NHL didn't see it either. So the score became, I think it was 2-1 Florida at that point. And then Anthony Richard gets the Flyers on the board, assisted by Travis Konechny, his 9th of the season, and Rasmus Ristolainen, his 2nd of the season. Anthony Richard has looked okay with the Flyers during his games, last couple games here. I could pick his game apart a little bit tonight, but I'm not gonna. He scored a goal, scored the tying goal. Let's get to it.
Swerves in and drops it off to Konechny across. That shot, score! From out high, Anthony Richard. It is set.
So I'm gonna play this again because this was something I like here. He kind of there was a Hunter McDonald a goal the other night for the Phantoms, and Richard kind of does the same thing here. He's he's given some space. He takes the space, and the puck finds his way to him, and he makes no mistakes. Let's watch this again.
In and drops it off to Konechny across that shot, score from out high.
Yeah, so there you go. Not exactly the same as the McDonald goals. He didn't skate into so much space. He just had a nice shot through traffic, found his way to the back of the net, and Bobrovsky played his ass off tonight for the Panthers, and that was one of the only ways you were going to beat him if you could get there through a screen. So good for Anthony Richard. Tied the game up at 2 at that point, and then Sam Bennett would score just a minute and 56 seconds later to give Florida the 3-2 lead heading into the third period with assists from Carter Verhaeghe and Nico Mikkola. Third period. I thought it was sort of an even third period. What the Flyers are showing you so far during this road trip is that they're back to their bend but don't break ways. And even over the course of the Tampa game and the Florida game, I think we're starting to see a momentum shift in the way that they play. They're generating some more offense. They're getting shots to goal, right? I think they outshot Florida tonight, 34, 35 shots. I haven't seen that many shots in games this season. So in, that sense, they're starting to figure things out. And, maybe the problem, now I'm not going to say, because I don't want to lose viewers, God forbid. You can say a lot of things, but don't say anything about Michkov. So we'll get to that. I thought Owen Tippett had a lot of great scoring chances in this game. I want to get to him in a little bit. But first, let's get to the guy who tied this game up in Garnet Hathaway. They were talking about him on the broadcast, I think. And then out of nowhere, he walks Alexander Barkov, and he puts a puck through the legs of Sergei Bobrovsky. Let's get to the goal.
Seconds away from the midpoint of this third period. Hathaway, nice moves. He scores! He tried to pass it, it deflects in. And for the second straight year.
We'll watch the replay on this one too, because I laughed out loud when I saw this. And not because, Hathaway is not a good player. I just couldn't believe, the guy that he skates around and then he puts it through the wickets of Bobrovsky, who, like I said, played pretty well tonight. So here we go. Let's watch the replay.
Play to the back door. Watch as Hathaway enters his zone. He takes it around the defender and then trying to throw it across. That's Barkov. He goes around. I mean, that's a heck of a play by Hathaway right there. Gets around Barkov. It's the fortunate bounce that goes off of Belinska's shin pads. And
so he was definitely going to pass that, but we're going to give him all the credit in the world for that one, right? That was a hell of a move on, the multiple Selke Trophy winner, Alexander Barkov, and then pass goes through the legs of Bobrovsky. And hey, they don't ask how, they ask how many. So Hathaway tied the game up at 3. The overtime. I would love to talk about the overtime. Who in the comments wants to talk about the overtime? I think the Flyers are figuring this thing out. Last year, it was all run and gun, giving possession away any chance they could. I've talked about it on this show a million times. It's possession. The overtime in hockey is possession. Rag the puck back as many times as you want. You don't have to give it up. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be fast break every time you touch the puck in overtime. And it seems like they're starting to figure it out. I'm getting some comments here. Jack said overtime was awesome. Jonathan, overtime was awesome, just needed to finish. And against any other goalie, they probably win tonight in overtime, but Bobrovsky was standing on his head, made multiple big saves in the overtime. But the possession, the Flyers were ragging the puck back, taking their time with it, being deliberate. And that's what you got to do. Be deliberate with your strikes. Take your chances when they're there. They will be there in the overtime. There's no reason to force shots and give up possession in the overtime. So I was happy with that. Seems like they're figuring that out. And then they take the Panthers to a shootout. We all know how it ended. It looked like they were going to pull it out there for a second. And Urson's the shootout goalie, huh? He looks good. Flyers are now 2-1 in shootouts. But so let's get to some players for tonight, right? I thought Owen Tippett had a great game. He's really showing signs of coming around after the slow start this year. He's going to pop off. Like, the goals are going to come, and they're going to come in bunches for Owen Tippett. So excited for that. I mentioned a couple games ago he had some jump. I don't remember if he scored or not, but I think it's going on 2 or 3 games now, maybe even 4 for Tippett, where it looks like, okay, he's back to the Tippett from last year. Tyson Forster, I thought, had some pretty chances in the overtime. He's got such a heavy shot. They need to find a way to get him open so that he can use it. I saw an Emil Andre comment. Andre was solid. He's gonna give you solid minutes. Look, in the future, he'll be a solid top 4D. I'm not in any rush to make him a top 4D now, because you need a good third pair too, right? So let him get his minutes on the third pair, and keep it going that way. There's no, like, why is it a bad thing to have 3 good defensive pairings? So Michkov, the big story of tonight, didn't even play, but we'll talk about him, right? This is the guy everyone wants to see, the guy everyone pays to see, the guy we've waited for only a year, by the way, right? It wasn't this huge long wait. He's here, and it only took a year. Out for a second straight game. I have my thoughts and opinions on it. I don't think they're popular. I try to be rational, and I try to keep my thoughts. I don't like to be outraged, right? Because there's enough of that on Twitter. You can find that from anybody. Twitter's a very reactionary website. It's, oh, I'm pissed, let me go vent my thoughts. Or, oh, that made me upset, let me go tell everybody about it. And that's not really my style. I like to think. And I'll tell you this right now. John Tortorella is not out there trying to undermine the Philadelphia Flyers. He's not trying to undermine the development of Matvei Michkov. There's nothing that he's doing to hurt the franchise. Okay? So from that point of view is where I go about my thinking, right? I'm assuming that he's talking to the player. I'm assuming that he's communicating in some fashion why he's not playing, or somebody's talking to him. Well, if it's not Torts, it's somebody, right? I have my opinions on Michkov, and I'll let you guys know. The issue with Michkov's been 5-on-5. It was an issue for him in the KHL. If you guys watch KHL games, and not just his highlights. If you watch his highlights, you would think there's not a reason to sit him ever. If you watch Michkov 5-on-5, go back and watch games in the KHL. And I would say it last year. He's got a lot to work on. And unfortunately, it was inevitable, but it carried over into the NHL. I didn't see it as much in his first 2, 3, 4 games. But when things kind of went south, and went south quick for the Flyers, that started to come out, I noticed. Like the sitting at center ice, or I don't want to call it cherry picking because he wasn't on the other blue line. But the play would be a little further back in the Flyers zone. And, Michkov would be open, but you would have to make a miraculous pass to get him the puck. And if that's the case, now it's 5-on-4, and Michkov's hoping for a pass here, the home run pass. That's happened multiple times throughout this season. And in my opinion, has progressively gotten worse. It's almost like if you give somebody an inch, they take the yard. And I'm not saying he was doing this intentionally. All right. So nobody twist my words, yada, yada. It's like when you get back into a bad habit and nobody says anything, you keep doing it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then when does it stop? Right. And if you communicate to somebody in practice, hey, this is what we need. This is what we need. And he continues to go out and do the opposite in the game. Where do you stop it? Because he's either not getting it or he's not listening. And I'm choosing to believe that he's not getting it, right? He's a 19-year-old kid. We need to remember that. He's 19, not the biggest player out there either. Sure, he can hold his own, right? But the game is fast. And I don't want, in my opinion, an NHL game is not a place to go figure things out. It's not. Because while you're out there going to figure things out, you could be losing hockey games. And let's face it, I know they're in a rebuild, right? Rebuild. but the players on that roster are out there trying to win. So it's not fair to them that you're out there trying to work on your 5v5 and figure things out, and these guys got to wait for you. Take a seat, watch some tape, watch a game, understand what they're trying to teach you, right? Because they're teaching. That's what coaches do, right? They teach. Watch what the coach is teaching you. And while you're doing this, take a couple games off against Tampa Bay and Florida and come back refreshed and apply what you're learning. I don't understand what's wrong with that. Someone tell me what's so bad about that. Why is that a bad thing? God forbid he doesn't play 2 games. God forbid, right? There's 82 games, man. There's 82 games in a season. I don't know. Do people just like to be outraged, right? We like to make these videos being outraged and get all these likes, and I don't know what it is. It's not my style. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal for me. They have another game Monday, right? Maybe he plays. Maybe he doesn't. What's a big deal? Are we afraid that he's going to be pissed off and he's going to want to leave? If that's the case, just say it, right? I have another theory too on this. Is it possible that in some sense the team is relying too much on Michkov while he's out there? I know he's only 19, but is he in some way sort of, and I don't want to, the word distraction is not what I'm looking for, but are they relying on him too heavily? Right? Is it a combination of Michkov not doing the correct things and the Flyers also relying on his scoring? Because 35, 36, 37 shots tonight, I don't know if they've had 37 shots in a game while Michkov's around. You know, maybe the team relied on Michkov too much. And now that they are, they're back doing their thing, because the last couple games, they're looking more and more like the team from last season. Maybe they get on track, and then you add Michkov back in, working on what he's supposed to work on, and the team, hits the ground running Monday night against the San Jose Sharks, who are one of the lesser teams in the league, but I think I've been putting some wins together. So we'll see. He's not going to sit on the bench the rest of the year, though. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the Michkov thing. Let's see. Let's get to some comments, and we'll go from back to front here. This way they're still relevant. We have Jonathan. I like him on the power play. Just limit his 5v5 shifts until he gets up to snuff. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. So that's fine. And if you're playing him 12, 13, 14 minutes a night, you would assume that he'd be fresher, longer in the season too. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Of course, people will point that out. It sucks. He's only playing Michkov 12, 13, 14 minutes. It's a long season, guys. It's a grind, right? And I'll keep bringing up, he's 19 years old in a new country, in a new league. It's very physical, very fast. It's going to take a toll. It takes a toll on the older guys who are built for this. And, he's not a man yet. He's still a boy. Let's buzz through some comments here. Hey, Kenny G. Good road trip considering the heavy competition. Looking forward to seeing Michkov against San Jose. They wreaked some havoc on defense, and so glad Urson is back. Yeah. 3 out of a possible 6 points, and they probably should have went to overtime versus Carolina. Look, they could have easily gone 0-3. So what is that? 1-1-1? I mean, I'm not even sure what their record is after tonight. Let me check that for you guys. All right, so they're 5-8-2, 1-1-1 road trip, and they're tied for last place in the Metro with the Blue Jackets, who have only played 12 games. The Flyers have played 15. So I think a road trip like they just had, and a game like tonight, I know Michkov didn't play, a lot of positives, and they lost, right? So I think most people at this point just want them to get a pick, right? We don't want them to just barely miss the playoffs. So I don't know. It's all good for me. Like whatever happens. Hey, Sturdy 99, spectacular hockey game. Vegas Woe chimes in. Ovechkin had the same problems too his first years as a player. He didn't care about playing D. Yeah, and I don't know what his situation was. I don't know. I don't think he was benched or whatever. But I know Ovechkin's a generational talent. Michkov's. We'll see if he's going to be a generational talent, right? We don't know that. I think Ovechkin scored 50 goals, 40 goals in his rookie season, and I know we're a long ways away from that now, but he's going to break Wayne Gretzky's number, Wayne Gretzky's goals record. So, I don't know if I would put them in the same category. Yeah, Ovechkin had 52 goals his rookie year, 106 points. I don't know if I'm not saying Michkov can't do that, but I'm not seeing 50 goal, 100-point season this year. Are you guys? Oh, Rosario. Rosario, I'm not sure if I've seen you in here before, man. So welcome to the HW Hockey YouTube channel. Pleasure having you. Good question. If you had these problems in the KHL, why didn't they work on it during camp or preseason? I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did everything they could to integrate them into their style, into their system. Look, he's learning a lot. Aside from learning, how the Flyers play stylistically and all that, he's also learning English. Like, this kid's going through a major life change while adapting to the NHL style of play. It's a totally different style of play from NHL to KHL. But this was a thing, right? His play away from the puck, it was subpar at times. I'll just be honest. Like, it wasn't awful, and I think you could get away with it a little bit more in the KHL. In the NHL, though, they'll pick you apart. Like, they adapt so quickly, and once they see stuff like that, they exploit it. And look, that's what's been happening. And Tortorella's let everybody know in his press conferences that the Flyers they're not playing together. They weren't. They were disconnected. They used the word skating in fives. And to me, the signal that went off for me was Michkov right away. Because when I'm at these games and I'm watching up top, I'm not sure if you can see it on TV, but you can see where the play is. And then there's Michkov, and you need the support. You need to show support. The way that the Flyers play, you have to support the puck in the D zone in order to get out of the zone. You can't be waiting at center ice or in the neutral zone, saying, "Hey guys, you get the puck and just get it out to me, and I'll go score." That's not how it works. So you need to be supporting D and work the puck up as fives. Look, it's really that simple, Sturdy with some good comments tonight. This team is playing with confidence again, and that's a massive thing for pro athletes. Once you get confidence, you can get rolling a little bit. Yeah, there you go, Jack. New country, new league, new teammates, new coach. It's going to take at least the season. It's going to take a little bit. Wow, 23 minutes into a post game already. Yeah. So, a tough loss tonight, guys. This was a fun post game, a lot to talk about. Sam Ersson played great, I thought. Also, we didn't even talk about Sam Ersson. I'll let you guys vote on the player of the game tonight. I'll give you guys like 30 seconds, and the majority of whoever you guys pick gets player of the game, because there's a lot of guys for me. Owen Tippett didn't even score. I thought he could be up there. Travis Konechny with an assist tonight. I thought he could be up there. Anthony Richard, his first goal as a Flyer. Didn't like his game overall. That was his 5th career goal. Joel Farabee got on the score sheet. I like that line tonight. Bobby Brink had some jump in his step on that line. Maybe could have picked up another assist. Junkie with some Drysdale hate. Oof, that's rough. Jack's going Ersson, Tippett, TK. Brad Miller going Tippett. I like that one as well. Hathaway gets the game-tying goal. He's always involved when he's on the ice. Rosario, I think, is picking me. Is that what we're saying here, Rosario? I mean, I'll take player of the game if you want to give it to me. Andre playing more on PP than Drysdale. Oh, how about that PP2 tonight? They looked good, didn't they? I can't recall who all five, but I think it was Forster. Andre was definitely on there. I want to say Frost and Farabee. Was it that? Was Brink on there too? I can't remember, guys, but they were impressive. You know what they were doing? They were getting pucks to goal. It's a great thing. You got a scoring chance every time. But it seemed like they were trying to find Forster to get him to unleash that shot. So Andre has impressed the coaching staff, which is awesome for his confidence of getting a spot even when Yorkie comes back. That's from Brad Miller. Yeah, it's going to be a tough decision. Well, I mean, maybe it won't be like Zamula sits, right? For sure. But he even got some time with Sanheim tonight, who I thought Sanheim looked pretty good again. All right. So let's get to our, I don't think I used the graphic last time. Let's get to our star of the game.
HW Hockey Star of the Game.
Who do you guys want? I think we're going to go Anthony Richard. Dude, why not? He's not going to be up here forever. He gets a goal. We got all different stars here. Oakland Razors going, Garnet Hathaway, Jack Went Urson, and those guys would be great picks as well. Andre looked good tonight. He's a Bulldog, man. I'm telling you, he's a Timonen light. Maybe even a little bit like Timonen was tenacious. Like he didn't look like the strongest, most physical guy, but he would get in those corners. He would get in those net front battles, and he could play on the power play. He could skate. He could get back. He was responsible defensively. That's Emil Andre, guys. And I keep calling him Timonen light because I don't want to directly compare him to Timonen. Timonen was just so good all around defenseman. I don't know. Andre could be a top 4D. I think most likely a second pair D, which is, I always say this because it feels like a knock when I call somebody a second pair D, but you need second pair D. You need good second pair D on a good hockey team. So, I think that's what the Flyers might have to go with. They might just have to be a team with three really good defensive pairs. Like they're not getting a top defenseman, like a one. They're not getting a 1D. Like they don't grow on trees, and I don't know if they have that guy in the system. So they might have to be a team that rolls out three really solid defensive pairs. And Andre's going to be a part of that. Right. So that's a bright side. All right, so we're almost a half an hour into this, guys. I'm going to wrap this one up. The Flyers next play Monday night against the San Jose Sharks at home. So I'll be at the Wells Fargo Center for that one. Hopefully I see everybody in this chat tonight, back in the chat Monday night. This was a fun one, a Saturday night, and we had a full house in here. I appreciate that, guys. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. For HW Hockey, I'm Jim Icavone. Make sure you guys, if you haven't yet already, please go give us a like and a subscribe. And make sure you hit the alert button so you can join us for every post game from here on until the end of the season. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you Monday night. Let's go Flyers.